Hi everyone, it's Raymond Wood from the Raymond Wood podcast. I've got to my left Liam Williams, who's been on our programme for coming up to a year, and we've got his dad, Colin Williams. Now, you will see behind us, I have to admit, being a Liverpool fan, probably one of the most impressive stadiums I've seen. I seen a really impressive one last year in Tottenham Hotspur, but I think Everton's is going to rival Tottenham Hotspur's as well. Very impressive stadium. Now, the two guys to the left of me are actually Everton fans. That's why they've got big smiles, because I think they're finally going to have a better stadium than Liverpool. Liam, how are you?
Good, yeah.
Good, very good. Now, we've got some questions for you, and we're just going to go through the questions, and we're just going to get some information for our listeners at the Raymond Wood podcast, and we're going to get straight into it. Now, first question we've got for you, Liam. Can you describe how the Pro Player Pathway programme shaped your journey from playing community football, say in the UK, to now playing in the academy system? How's it helped you?
Well, since I've started on the programme, everything's changed. I mean, the mindset, I've started to believe in myself, and the analysis from all the games has helped me improve on all of things that I wasn't quite up to, get an idea of what the standards here, and then be able to adapt to that.
Brilliant, mate. Awesome. Now, next question is for your dad. Now, Colin, obviously, when we first approached you about getting you on the Pro Player Pathway programme and Liam on, you said we couldn't get you on because you were actually coming back to the UK for work, and that you thought was going to be a problem. But because you were already coming back for work, and I explained to you that it's actually a remotely based programme, we could work with you. How did that appeal to you when you knew that it was a remotely based programme?
Yeah, it was great. At the time, we were over in Western Australia, and Liam came on one of your programmes. He'd done some testing, and yeah, we were just really impressed with the programme. We went to the PPP in the hotel in Perth, and we had a little chat, and we went from there.
Amazing. So initially you thought, because you were heading back already to the UK for your job, because I believe yourself and your wife were coming back for your jobs, and you thought the opportunity was only for Australia, and then you actually discovered the opportunity was for anywhere in the world. So did that make you feel happy when you knew that?
Yeah, we realised that the programme was obviously like a remote programme. No matter where we was in the world, we could access it, and that was appealing to us. It's really good, yeah.
So just on that one, what initially drew you to enrol Liam onto the programme? Did you see an advertisement, or how did you hear about it?
Yeah, we just seen an advertisement on Facebook on one of the WA junior grassroots programmes on Facebook, and we just looked at it. We thought it was something a little bit different that we hadn't seen before, so we enrolled Liam on it, and yeah, we're so glad we did.
Amazing. Now, next question's for Liam. Now, on the Professional Player Pathway programme, as Liam knows, but for all our listeners watching my podcast, there's 7 pillars to the programme. And one of the pillars is actually the GPS and having a GPS tracking system. How's it helped you understand your performance in your games?
Well, the thing I like best about it is that it compares what your levels are to what an academy players are at. And when I started wearing the GPS, I was quite behind, but once I've started working harder, I've been able to get closer, and sometimes I've been even able to top that. So it's really giving an idea on how I'm doing and what I need to be at to get in an academy.
Amazing. So what Liam is alluding to there is we can compare the stats of the players in the top academies to our players no matter where they are around the world, and that's an amazing thing. Now the next one's to Colin. Now Colin, from your perspective, how important was the GPS tracking and the monitoring? How did you feel it helped Liam?
Yeah, I think it was massive for us. Once he started wearing it, we could see the areas where he was doing well, and then the areas he wasn't doing so well, and how many hours he was doing a week and stuff. And we just tweaked his programme just to suit that, and yeah, it worked really well for him, and he enjoyed wearing it and downloading the stats and seeing where he stood on the app, which was really good for him as well. He was excited by it as well.
Amazing. That's one of the things that we push is the GPS tracking unit, because what we've discovered is it makes the players accountable. So rather than leaving it up to the mums and dads to push the boys and sons and daughters along, by having the GPS tracker on, we're actually assisting the players to become more accountable. Did you find that was helpful?
Yeah, straight away. The first time we had to tell them to put it on, but after that, it was like, where's my GPS tracker? I want it on every session, every game. I want it on. I want to see how I'm doing. So
amazing.
Really easy that way.
So next question's for Liam. So one of the other pillars that we've actually got a pillar where we do our nutrition and our DNA testing. So did you find with your DNA and your nutrition, how did that help you? And if you can explain to some of our listeners.
Well, once I found out what I was intolerant to or not, I felt like I felt fitter and I felt better. For example, when I ate the right foods after training, sometimes I'd recover over 1 or 2 days, even if it's on a really stressful session. And also during, I'd ate the right things before, so I was energised for it and I felt really good.
That's amazing. So Colin, from a dad's perspective, what were some of the changes you noticed once Liam adapted his new diet, once he had his DNA test done?
Yeah, to be honest, he's always ate pretty well. But once we got the lists of the foods that were not so good for him and the foods that were good for him, we just tweaked his eating program and his diet to suit. And pretty much straight away we got results. He was, as he said, he felt more energised after games. We were using the stuff afterwards. He was doing ice baths, but also the food was a big recovery period for him, and he was ready to go again the next day, even after, as he says, a really tough session.
Amazing. So just for our listeners watching on and listening on to the podcast, one of the pillars is our DNA intolerance test. The reason why it's so important, it's like we liken it to a car. If you've got a petrol car and you put diesel in it, it's not going to work. It's exactly the same for the human body. We want to make sure the foods that are going in, everyone's an individual. There's certain foods some bodies want and some foods and drinks some bodies don't want. It helps in age recovery and it also helps that session and when they're playing. The next question, Liam, one of our next pillars that we work on is match analysis.
Yeah.
Now, how did you find the match analysis help you, and what was maybe the one area of the match analysis that helped you the best?
The one area that helped me the best was probably playing to my advantages. Obviously, when I done the match analysis, I was playing in a league where obviously some of the kids were 2 years older, so they were fitter, faster, stronger than me. But when I found out that basically all I needed to do was do one thing that changed the game, that really improved my confidence. Obviously, before that, I wasn't getting on the ball enough, and once I was directed to knowing what to do, when I get it, I started playing better, started feeling better about my performances, and then from there on I've just improved every time I play.
Phenomenal. So again, for our listeners listening in, we identify in the match analysis 5 objectives. Now these 5 objectives are the things that the player needs to work on, the areas of weakness. And what Liam's alluding to here again is actually just focusing on one area and working on that until he gets really good at it. Now these objectives could take 10 weeks, it could take a year. So did you find that you got a lot more focus and clarity just focusing on one area?
Yeah, felt a lot better.
Now, question for Colin. How did you find, Colin, like when you seen the match analysis and the level of it and the objectives and the way it was designed for Liam individually, how did you think it sort of helped or hindered Liam's development?
So, to be honest, we've always had VOs over the last few years. I'd worked at clubs where we'd always had them, and we'd always do team analysis. But we hadn't really nailed down the personal analysis. And then once we'd done that, once you went through his personal objectives, one of them for me, which was really important, I thought at the time, was him securing the ball. So we just had a basic, we had an S on his hand, and in that game, he had to secure the ball before doing anything with the ball. Sounds really basic, but we found when we watched his games back on the VOs, through VO stats, that a lot of times he's a forward player, so he's trying to do things. As soon as he gets the ball, he's trying to do the next phase of play before he's actually secured the ball. So once we looked at that, once we put his objectives there, and he'd done that 2 or 3 games, suddenly he was getting the ball down and he was being able to play, and that was a big one for us. There was a few other things on there, but to me, that was the main one that changed his game for the better.
Yeah. It is. We believe all the 7 pillars are so important to the players, but I think not many people know, but the first pillar that I actually invented for the program was the match analysis, because I knew how it wasn't done properly, not just in the USA or in Australia, but even in the UK and in Europe, was that it was very team focused. And with our match analysis, it's individual based on the individual themselves. Now the next one's for Liam. Now one of our other pillars is our Zoom meetings. So for anyone who's watching and listening in, we have a monthly Zoom meeting where we have players, ex-players, coaches, ex-coaches from the World Game. We've had people on from the Premier League. We've had people from the Champions League. How did you find the Zoom meetings have helped you so far when you dial in and you get to, no matter where you are in the earth?
Well, basically, past experiences that were explained to me really helped me when I was on trial. Obviously, one piece of advice I got was just work hard, and sometimes it wasn't going well for me in the trial, but I just remembered that if I kept working hard, if I worked harder, hard work beats talent all the time.
Amazing. Now, Colin, on the Zoom meetings, do you think, like, looking in on this program, when you realised that you had these world-class expert opinions and someone, not only you could ask a question to, but you knew you were going to get real answers, how did that make you feel as a parent?
Yeah, that was really good. We could put questions and get them answered pretty much straight away in the Zoom calls. And just a couple of them that came back for us was there was a few stories of obviously players being released, and sort of that was like their forward thinking, going, right, I'm not giving up here, I'm going to push myself. And obviously we know in football there's ups, but there's also massive downs as well. And that was good to hear. Footballers who have had good careers obviously had setbacks, but they put them to their advantage and pushed forwards after that. And that was a really important one for Liam and myself to take on board.
It's exciting. We initially, when we first put the Zoom program together where we do the monthly meeting, one of the areas that we were concerned about was getting enough quality people to join us on the Zoom calls every month. The problem we've now got, I've got like ex-colleagues and contacts from the World Game. I've got coaches reaching out. We've actually got a Champions League player who's actually playing in the Champions League final next week, who's actually going to be on one of our Zoom calls in the next. So they're the types of people that we're bringing, because one of the things that we got, not just from Australia, but the USA and also in places like New Zealand, was that they're asking questions at Clubland, but they're really asking questions from people who don't have the experience. They haven't been there, they haven't done it, they haven't got the T-shirt. So it was super important. Now, next question for Liam. Now, one of the other pillars is we actually open up opportunities for players in the UK and Europe for trials. And we get you opportunities for trials, pending you've got the right visas, whether you're studying education, whether you've got the right passport to be in a certain country. Now, from the trials, what was it like for you when we arranged some trials and opportunities for you? How did you find it?
Well, when I went back in January, I already had experience from the tour in September, just before we moved back to the UK. Obviously, I saw the team we were playing against and I loved the way they played. They moved the ball quick, and once I saw them, I just knew I want to be in this team. I started working hard, and obviously I kept working hard through Christmas, and when I got that 8-week trial, I knew what I had to be at, and I did, and ended up getting it. Amazing,
and congratulations. Now, Liam was very, very fortunate. We got him trials at quite a few clubs and opportunities, and this next one's for his dad, for Colin. Now, Colin, obviously, when we met, you thought you weren't originally able to come on the programme because you'd already planned to come back to the UK for work. Obviously, before you'd met us and you're thinking, we're going back for work, you obviously, it must have been hard for you to think, I don't know which way I'm going to take him. We don't know how we're going to open up opportunities. So how pleasing was it for you when you were aware that the programme could work no matter where you were in the world? And also, pending Liam hitting benchmarks on our programme, there was an opportunity for him to do trials.
Yeah, when we decided to come back, and we'd sorted out jobs here, and my daughter got a place in Liverpool Uni. The next step obviously was for Liam, was where's he going to play? Obviously he's always played at a decent level over in Perth, but totally different to the UK system. We came over on a tour with yourself, and we'd sort of tasted it, felt it, looked what seen what it was like, and then to get the proper trials was obviously something really important for us. At first, obviously he was a little bit nervous, like any player would be, coming from the other side of the world, playing against players who'd been there quite a long time, although only 12 and 13 years of age. Obviously some have been there from 7 or 8. So that was a tough one for him, but it was really important for us to get the trials and for him to settle into players' football.
So also, just going back to the trial, obviously we don't set up trials for players willy-nilly. They've got to be prepared. They've got to hit certain objectives on the programme. Did you feel confident because you actually maybe might have thought Liam was actually a pretty good player, but then when you've seen the work he had to do to be prepared, because one of the things we don't like to do is send players in with not having doing any benchmark or testing. And we knew from Liam's background, and when we seen his objectives, how well he was doing, but we still spotted those issues in his match analysis, didn't we? How did it make you feel like we could prepare him properly for this trial to be successful?
Yeah, it was good. To be honest, it was great for us. He was going in confident, and that was the main thing. Like, once we nailed down his objectives, and obviously he was playing well, he was enjoying his football, which obviously is super important. When we went to the trials, we went to Blackburn. That was tough for him. A lot of big kids there, and then we went to, I think we went to Tranmere Rovers as well. We went to Bolton Wanderers, and each day and each trial, he took something from it, and he grew and ran with it. And it was just credit to him that he's done that.
Phenomenal. Now, our next question's for Liam, and one of our other pillars, and this is probably the foundation of the professional player pathway, it is the football plan. Now, the football plan, for anyone listening who's not aware what the football plan is, it is exactly what it says on the tin. It is the football plan, but it's our online app and portal. Now, not only this is where Liam's DNA and nutrition test results go in, it's also where his match analysis goes. It's where all the Zoom meetings go. It's basically a one-room locker for everything to go in. Now, Liam, obviously you joined the program before we invested in the new technology, and now you've seen the new technology where we've got the app, your objectives are in there. So has it allowed you to stay like more organised and focused? How's it helped you?
Yeah, it's really helped me stay like on task, knowing what to do, knowing what my diet is, knowing like what to work on, and I've really enjoyed having it.
That's great. Now, for your dad, Colin, how have you found that as a parent? You don't have to worry about checking on Liam if he's done a certain session or if he's had his tracker on, because we're keeping an eye on it in the system. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it's good. We can log in, and Liam can log in as well. We can look at what he's done this week. We can look at the hours he's done, obviously on his GPS. We can look at his objectives, what he's working on that week or that month. And obviously, if he's a little bit down on his hours for that week, we can take him out and do an extra session or a run, whatever. So it's really good to be able to see that like right in front of you, both for him and us.
Yeah. Now, next question, Liam, and this one's on the programme, but maybe not even on the pro player pathway, but just in your journey so far as a player, what's probably been one of the most challenging things that you've had to adapt to, whether it's been since you've come back to England from mum and dad's work or from when you were living in Australia? What's been the most challenging thing?
To be honest, probably the weather.
The weather?
Very hard to adapt to it, obviously, but it was freezing when I come, but I guess I just had to layer up and get on with it.
Yeah, you got to get on with that. That's a big thing, that, especially for those boys and girls who are lucky enough who are already living in the UK or have got an opportunity to come back, whether it be on an education-based visa to come and play in our programmes. The weather is challenging. We're very lucky today. It's the end of May. It's probably 24 degrees. I've got a jacket on. I'm probably a bit too warm standing here. But the weather can be challenging. We're lucky if we get maybe 4-6 weeks of good weather in England. But I think the football outdoes the weather, doesn't it? And it's more important being here than the top-level football. Now, Colin, for you, how do you feel that, looking back at the professional player pathway, how it's helped Liam so far? And if there's one area that you think that's really, really helped him in his development?
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's the match analysis, going back to it. I think that was a big one for us. Obviously, once we nailed down his objectives and we had him securing the ball, we had him scanning a lot more. We had a couple of others in there, but we felt like they were the main ones. He really started to play his football, get on the ball a lot more. And obviously the trials has been a big one for us. We came over in September, we tasted it, we felt it. And then obviously when we moved back here just after that, he was here permanently. He settled into school well, and then obviously the trials were a big one for us. That opened up a lot of doors for us and made us realise like the level of football as well, not just the basics of football, but just the speed and move the ball and stuff here. Obviously that's a little bit different to where we were living. This time last year.
Phenomenal. Now, Liam, for players who are around the world, whether they're in the USA, Middle East, Australia, New Zealand, even in Europe, What's the one bit of advice you would give to anyone who's maybe a little bit younger or inexperienced compared to you? What's the one tip or a bit of advice you could give them?
One thing I would say is just enjoy it. That's a mistake I made. I'd say I didn't really enjoy it. I put lots of pressure on myself. My mindset was, if I don't do well, I won't get in. But then again, you might never be here again, so you've just got to enjoy it. And 99% of the time, if you're enjoying it, you'll play better than if you've got pressure on yourself. So just have fun. You might never be there again, and it's a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so just enjoy it.
It's a top tip from someone who's, how old are you, Liam? 12? 13. Top tip, I was an aspiring football player at the age of 20, 19 years of age. I knew I wasn't good enough, and I probably didn't enjoy it enough when I was younger. I put too much pressure on myself, and that is a top tip of advice for any players, boys or girls, who are watching this podcast. Take that advice on, enjoy it. If you're a mum and dad, and I was privy to it this morning, I went to watch one of my nephew's football games this morning, and to see the behaviour of 2 or 3 of the parents and the pressure they're putting these poor kids under, just, it doesn't blow my mind because you know it's happening. But I just ask for those parents to stop it. Let the kids, when they walk on the pitch, give a chance to maybe try and solve those problems on the pitch themselves, and trust in the coaches who are doing the work, and don't be getting on them. Now, Colin, what's the one bit of advice you would give as a parent, someone who's been through it a lot, growing up in a place like Liverpool, growing up as a big Everton fan where we live and breathe football? What would you give to one bit of advice to some of our families around the globe who've got maybe aspirations of the son or daughter making it, or if the players have got aspirations, if you could give one tip?
I think to the parents, the main one is, obviously, it's your job to prepare them. It's your job to get them to where they need to be for training and games. It's your job to make sure that at a younger age that they're dedicated to turning up, they're eating the right foods, they're drinking the right things, they're drinking lots of water. But then obviously once you're there and you turn up, you've just got to trust in the coach. You've got to hand them over, trust in the coach, stand back, watch the players, let them enjoy themselves, let them have fun. Obviously afterwards, don't put pressure on them. Definitely before the game, never put pressure on them to do certain things or do certain things or score a goal or an assist, anything like that. You've got to just trust in the coaches, let them have their hour or 2 hours with the players. And that's your job done. If you can get them there on time, you can make sure they're well fed, they're well watered. You've done your job, then hand them over to the coaches who know what they're doing.
Yeah, that must be a pleasing thing for you watching on when you know he's there with these qualified professional coaches. And we are very blessed in the UK that even at grassroots level, a lot of the coaches have to have a minimum of an FA level 1 or 2 badge, child protection certificate, safeguarding, first aid. It must make you feel happy when you're watching on, seeing them in the hands of professional coaches.
Yeah, it's great, and a lot of the time there's not much instruction coming from them, because I would say a good coach has prepared his team and prepared the players before the game, at half time. There's no need for them to be shouting at a junior level every 2 minutes and telling them what to do. So that's a big thing for me, both in Australia and what I've seen here, is coaches just over-coaching in grassroots. Let them play and let them make their own mistakes.
Amazing. Now, next one's for Liam, and we're nearly finished, guys. Got a couple of more questions to go. Liam, now, I know, because Dad's been updating me, but since you've obviously come back to the UK in Jan, I think it was, you obviously have to go to school. How are you managing balance in school and football? Is it easy? Is it hard? Is it tricky?
Well, it is difficult, I've got to be honest, but it's finding that right balance of not just doing your homework on days that you don't have training. Obviously, on the way to school, on the bus, sometimes you do it on the way back. That means that on your days off, you're not stressed doing loads of homework, and possibly that even means you can do your own sessions if you've got time.
Amazing. Now, Colin, as a dad, how do you ensure that Liam sort of remains well-rounded and focused on his education and his football? And how is it as a parent trying to balance the two?
Yeah, I think he is pretty good. He realises that if he wants to spend a lot of time training and playing football, there's got to be a balance to it, and that's doing his homework, making sure his grades are good. And to be honest, credit to him, he's come to a school, doesn't know anyone in the school, and he's settled in really well, and he's had we've had a couple of parents meetings, and he's settled in really well, and he's doing everything he can, but he realised if he's not doing that, he's not going to get the chance to play his football.
Amazing. Now, Liam, we've got our last question for you and Dad, and this is a big one, and I'm always about setting goals and dreams as high as you can. And then if you fall a little bit short, it still tends to work out. Now, I'm really interested to know, what's the one goal that you've set for yourself in the future? And I hope it's a lofty one. I hope it's a big one. Can you tell me what your dream and goal is?
Well, this time last year I was here and now I'm here. The next goal for me is to get to here, get to the next level. Obviously, I'm possibly in the best place you could be for a footballer, and at an academy, I know the work doesn't stop now, so I just want to work hard. And at the end of the day, if I don't make it, I can go off the pitch and say I tried my best here. But at the end of the day, I just want to work hard on everyone and be the one who makes it.
Amazing. Now, you're saying you were here and you're going to there, but what is the big goal? What's the big dream? What, when you look at it, if you think we could put you in a time machine and 10 years' time, who would you be playing for and what jersey are you putting on?
It's a hard one, that. Everton.
Everton?
Yeah.
So you're going to be playing here at the new stadium?
Yeah.
What position are you going to be playing for them?
Striker.
Striking out. Nothing would make me feel more proud to know that I've only been involved as our programme Professional Player Pathway. We've only been helping Liam and Colin for just over 12 months. We're only a very small 1% of helping him to achieve his dream. But nothing would make me more happier, and probably all of my family members, to be sitting in this stadium supporting an Everton player. And I've got a sneaky feeling he's going to prove me right. I think that's going to happen. Colin, what's your aspirations for him? What's the big thing for you and Dawn as a mum and dad?
I think we're under no illusions. Obviously, he's done well to get an academy, but it's a long journey to go. And obviously, we want him to be very well educated. He's a clever boy. We want him to get well educated. Also, we want him to start his coaching badges. So over here, once you're 14, you can start doing some coaching badges. So we want him to do that. So that way, if he's not, if he doesn't happen to make it at the top level playing football, hopefully he will still play at some level, and he might have a chance to be a physio or an analyst. Or there's lots of opportunities these days in football. So we want to make sure his education comes first, and obviously keep on with his football.
Amazing. Now, a big thank you from me, Raymond's World Podcast, Liam Williams, Colin Williams. We're going to keep updated and we're going to track Liam as he moves through his career over the next few years. We're super excited. We can only wish you the best of luck, Liam and Colin. We're going to be here supporting you from close and afar. And we hope, and wish you the best of luck for your future. So, boys and girls at home, mums and dads, a big thank you for supporting us and watching. And again, remember to subscribe, like and comment. It's really important so we can keep this Raymond's World Podcast free and keep it going. Thank you. Namaste.